and they have always been thirsty.
You see, for thousands of years, humanity, we've believed that progress, that faith, that civilization itself, it all demands a price, a blood price. So today, we're going to delve into one of our most terrifying and, well, enduring traditions.
So, get ready. We're about to journey into the absolute darkest rituals mankind has ever conceived, to those places where the sacred and the savage aren't just neighbors, they become one and the same. Okay, so our first stop, ancient Egypt, a civilization, as you know, obsessed with the afterlife. But here's the thing. For some people, the death of their pharaoh wasn't the end of their service. No. It was just the beginning of an eternity of it.
And the logic behind this? Man, it's as cold as the tomb itself. Think about it. A pharaoh, he's a god in human form, right? He can't be expected to, do things for himself in the next life. He needed his entourage, his family, his servants. And you better believe he had handpicked exactly who would be joining him. But what's truly chilling is the archaeological evidence. The bodies they found in these burial pits. They show no signs of violence, no struggle. It's like they went willingly. They just accepted their fate. The most likely scenario? They calmly drank a cup of poison, believing it was some kind of eternal honor. Just, wow.
I want you to just imagine this. The pharaoh is dead, and then your name is called. The entire court celebrates your devotion as they lead you to the tomb. Someone hands you a cup. Is that really honor, or is it just coercion, where your only real choice is how you die, just to serve a dead man forever? Your eternal service, it begins now.
So we go from one kind of tomb to another. But this time, yeah, you go in alive. Let's head over to historical Japan. There was this belief, this folk tradition, that if you wanted to build something big, a castle, a dam, a bridge, you first had to appease the spirits of the land. And that appeasement? Well, it required a permanent living foundation.
They called it Hitobashira, human pillar. I mean, the definition sounds so clinical, but the reality? It is the absolute stuff of nightmares. To be chosen for this meant you were becoming a guardian spirit, sealed in the dark. Your body would literally become part of the foundation, and your soul would be bound to protect it forever.
And a method, it was just pure claustrophobic terror. They'd place the victim in a small hole, sometimes barely big enough to even stand in, and then they'd just entomb them, buried alive. Can you imagine hearing the construction continue right above you? Your screams muffled by earth and stone as you just slowly suffocated, all for a castle wall? And even though it was officially condemned in the 16th century, rumors say this practice secretly continued for hundreds of years.
But some gods, they aren't content with just a silent guardian. Some gods hunger.
Which brings us to Mesoamerica. Here, the gods were sustained by the most potent offering you can imagine: human blood and steel-beating hearts. The Mayans and later the Aztecs, they became absolute masters of extracting it. They turned ritual sacrifice into this bloody spectacle on an industrial scale.
Okay, the process itself was just a brutal, methodical ritual. You take a prisoner of war, a high-value offering, and you drag them up the steep temple steps. At the very top, 4 priests hold them down over a stone altar. Then a 5th priest, armed with a razor-sharp obsidian blade, slices open their chest, reaches right inside, and rips out their still-beating heart. That heart was offered to the sun god, while the now lifeless body was just kicked down the pyramid steps to the cheering crowd below.
So the Mayans, they perfected this gruesome technique, but the Aztecs, they scaled it up to unimaginable heights. Take the reconsecration of the Great Pyramid of Tenochtitlan back in 1487. What do you think the price tag was for that little ceremony?
80,000. That's not a typo. Over just 4 days, an estimated 80,000 prisoners of war were sacrificed. The lines of victims stretched for miles. Priests had to work in shifts, their bodies literally caked in blood. It was a production line of death, all to feed the ravenous hunger of their gods.
Okay, our final stop. This one's different. This form of sacrifice isn't for some sun god or for spirits in the earth. This is a much more intimate kind of horror. It's one born from grief, from devotion, and from just unimaginable societal cruelty. This is death by fire. We're talking about the Hindu practice of sati in India. The tradition dictated that a widow's ultimate act of devotion was to join her dead husband on his funeral pyre, to literally let the same flames that consumed his body consume hers too.
And this really shows the grim progression from grief to immolation. Now, while it was sometimes portrayed as this voluntary, beautiful act of love, the reality is that sati was often just a death sentence handed down by society. Especially childless widows. They were seen as a financial burden. The pressure from family, from the whole community, it was immense. It turned what was supposed to be a choice into an absolute, unavoidable obligation.
And just look at the numbers. At its peak, between the 15th and 18th centuries, we're talking an estimated 1,000 widows burned alive every single year. That's 1,000 women every year, pressured by grief and social duty, forced to walk into a raging fire, the ultimate agonizing sacrifice.
So from retainers sealed in tombs to living pillars inside walls, from hearts ripped out on altars to widows consumed by flames, it's clear the cost of belief has been incredibly steep. And that leaves us with one final, really unsettling question to think about. I mean, look around. Look at the grand structures of our world, the ancient traditions, the very foundations of our civilization, and just ask yourself, how many of them are cemented with forgotten blood?